Green light. Sabrina, right? Because I saw the badge was missing. Sabrina, right? Yes, you're right. This one.
We have one sound button for one here.
No questions.
Oh no, this one.
What? No. You might have gone away. You might have gone away.
Hello everyone, welcome to the second day. Hope you're feeling good. How are you feeling? Let's wake up. Let's have coffee kick in. Today we're starting with a very important presentation from one of our generous sponsors, CONTEC. We have today with us Mr. Jae-won Lee, the Vice President of CONTEC. And CONTEC is a spin-off company from KARI, the Korean Aerospace Research Institute, which was created in 2015, offering space ground station services and satellite image processing and application services, as well as a whole ground integration solution. And CONTEC is the gold sponsor of our Hackathon. Today also, Mr. Lee is joined by one of our mentors, Dr. Heen Yang. And you have all met him already, but just to tell you all, he's an enthusiast of satellite remote sensing, and he's currently working as a manager of Space Studio at CONTEC. And now I give over the floor to you. Please, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Jae-won Lee, Vice President from CONTEC. Today is a Korean national holiday to celebrate the liberation. Personally, I am very honored and meaningful to have this opportunity with you. First of all, I apologize for speaking presentation on behalf of Dr. Lee, CEO of CONTEC, because he went on a business trip for attending a conference in the United States. From now on, I would like to talk to you in our Giant Leap Hackathon 2022 about how the work CONTEC are doing can contribute to gender equality and diversity. For the presentation, I would briefly introduce CONTEC company, and then Dr. Yang of Hackathon Mentor will speak the content related to the application of satellite imagery. Thank you. To help you understand the space company CONTEC, prepared 1 minute introduce video.
50 years have passed since mankind made an extraordinary attempt. And now, space has become a reality, not a dream. And the era of a new space has started. The space industry, which used to be operated by the state, has now shifted over to private companies, such as SpaceX. And with the miniaturization and standardization of satellite components, small to micro satellites are rapidly being launched for commercial purposes. Even as we speak, there are thousands of satellites in orbit that are constantly collecting and producing data, which are received from ground stations on a daily basis. And we estimate that more than 40,000 small satellites will operate in space in the near future. A countless number of satellites will be launched from all over the world, and these satellites will be served with CONTEC's ground stations to provide more related services to the customers.
This is CONTEC CEO, Dr. Sunghee. He's a KARI researcher for 16 years. CONTEC's main business model is to build a space station on the ground to receive satellite data, transmit from satellite and launcher vehicle, and then to create a standard satellite images from the received data to provide an application service that meet customer needs in satellite image. CONTEC continue to grow into a company with more than 6 colleagues, including a branch in Luxembourg. In 2022, current investment have been completed in CDC. CONTEC provides end-to-end solution for downstream in space industry. The ground station service was defined as level 1 and level 3. CONTEC has developed and possessed all core technology necessary to develop and provide the level 1 to level 3 service. CONTEC is the only commercial company in Asia with the satellite launch and operation experience. This is our global partners. It is a strengthened partnership with various space agencies and companies around the world. CONTEC Global Ground Station Network is operating Jeju, Alaska, Sweden, Ireland, South Africa, and plan to expand to 12 stations by the end of the year. In addition to enlarge and satellite image service, as shown in the figure, equipment and faculties for free-space optical communication and space stationary awareness service. are planned to be installed parallelly on the existing ground station site. The satellite image application service is developing technology that can be applied to various fields such as smart city, maritime, agriculture, and forestry. Disaster to meet the need of B2G, B2B customers. Through this technological development, we are expanding our service to more customers. And the B2C service, the education and art, combining satellite imaging, NFT, and then blockchain technology and satellite image is more useful and valuable. CONTEC is realizing its vision to grow into the leader in the global space industry, strengthen its value chain through operating on satellite, commercial launch pad, and B2C business. Thank you. CONTEC introduced is here. Questions will be answered after all presentations are done completely. Next, Dr. Yang will continue to talk more in depth about the application of satellite image. Thank you.
Hello, and seems like yes, you guys can hear me well. And let me try. Yes, this works. Yes, good morning, and hope you had a nice night yesterday. Did you have a good time in Korea? Yes, good. Yes, my name is Hinya, and some of you guys already know about me. And I also during the mentor session, I have been to your room and had a talk about what you're doing. Before I start, let me say this is my apology. My English is quite poor, so actually I wanted to talk about our philosophy of content. Also, as a manager of Space Studio, my team, we have a philosophy when we have a imagery of the satellite and then do the application. So today I want to talk about satellite, remote sensing, and service. We usually say, what do you do in our field? We say, I'm doing the application field. I'm working in there. I do the satellite remote sensing and or service. But today I want to break down those three into satellite, remote sensing, and services. It might be like half lecture or the other last half will be kind of introduction to what we are doing. But I would like to give a message about what I am and what we are aiming for. So these are the contents, and let us talk about the satellite because all of us are interested in this kind of space sector. I know that you already know about the satellite really well, but please give me a chance to talk about what we define for it. So what about we start to think about what the space is? Please imagine any kind of thing related to space. What do you imagine? Anyone? Nope. Wanna talk? Okay, then yes. Exploration or
Data.
And
Telecommunication.
yes, good. Yes, we have several kind of things related to space. But today, let me talk about only for satellite. Maybe if you guys are walking through the third floor in the cafeteria, you guys have seen a booth of CONTEC, right? And if you find a brochure, small one, they have a picture of this satellite. This one is, we call it Odum, which means a kind of hill in Jeju Island in Korea. And then we are going to launch this satellite, which is a 16U size CubeSat. But yes, This might be a some stereotype structure of the satellite, which has a solar panel and also the antenna, or inside of it there must be so many kind of thing. But we know the structure and we know how it looks like, but depends on their purpose, their figure might differ. Then let's see about the satellite system, how it is consist of. When we talk about the satellite, yeah, usually we divide into the 3 segments because inside of the system we have segments, right? So what we have is first ground segment, or let me start from the launch segment. To launch our satellite in the orbit, we need a launch segment like a rocket or launch vehicle. And what else? After it goes onto the orbit, our satellite works on, and then we call that as a space segment. And then to communicate, usually to get the data, valuable data that we are aiming for, we need ground segment, right? So we are living in these 3 systems. And if we go next, let me divide these satellites into some types according to their application. From the left side, you will see the Starlink, which is really famous from SpaceX, right? And next, if you are interested in Earth observation, you might ever heard of ISI, which is from Finland. And if you go next, GLONASS, maybe it was from Russia, I guess. Then let's see why I brought these 3 images. First, we have purpose of each satellite. Will be for communication and Earth observation, and next will be navigation. If we combine these 3 purposes to the name of satellite, we will have Starlink is communication satellite. And the next, ISI, yes, we use that for Earth observation, which is Earth observation satellite. And the next, yeah, we call those guys as navigation satellite. Yes, so easy, right? And then let me go on to the next page, remote sensing. Remote sensing, yes, I brought this image from the web, but from the term, we can guess like we sense something from the remote. What do we use? We also have sensor network. If we talk about we get the data from somewhere, we have sensor network, which is really close to the actual thing. But if we talk about the remote sensing, what is it? We want to capture an image, or we want to measure their characteristic from the remote side. Then what do we need? Usually we use satellites, or these days drones are also famous. But whenever we get the data, we should analyze and then use for the users. So our remote sensing ecosystem is like this. And actually, there are tons of satellites in the orbit. But when we observe the Earth, usually more than 75% are electro-optical sensors and synthetic aperture radar, which transmits and receives its own microwave to monitor the Earth. They are less than 10%. So this is just an example. Actually, this map, this figure is not a comparison for the optical sensor and what is it? Synthetic aperture radar sensor image. But to make your understanding more intuitive, let me tell you, like, yeah, where there is a cloud, electro-optical sensor, because of cloud or because of the daylight condition, yeah, they might not capture the image well. But however, if we use the radar, yes, because it can penetrate the cloud, or you can utilize it whenever we want. Yes, we call it as synthetic aperture radar. Wow, they are all-weather image Earth observation sensor. But I am not telling, yes, R, which is synthetic aperture radar, is always good. They have pros and cons all the time. So the hardware guys who's developing these kind of sensors and who is making a mission for the satellite, yeah, they're making a better observation system. So we should put that in mind. And then let's go on to the next page. Yes, these are being a controversial thing. When maybe from this year, right? When the war began in there were many demands from these kind of countries, like could we get an image of what we are going on, what the thing is going on. So this is an example image from World War II of Ukraine. And also, yeah, these kind of images are existing. And the other company who makes SAR, Capella Space from US, they also announced about these images. Like, yes, it seems like some tank or some vehicles are moving to the border. And also you can see there, yes, via remote sensing, you can capture the image from the remote area. And it might be a valuable. You guys already know that that James Webb already launched, and then it gives us the image already. How fascinating it is. It might be a stupid story. That kind of nice telescope or some camera, they're watching the space. But what if they look on the Earth? It might be a surveillance, but not only for the surveillance. The valuable thing are existing in our Earth, in our life, and in our infrastructures. So after we get the image, we make some value-added thing via application thing, and we call that as services. So let's go on to, wow, sorry for mistypo. It should be services, but yes, chapter 3 will be our service. I brought an image. We can see it. There's old guy, and the other guys are running away with the horse. I put an old saying under here, according to this figure. We have old saying in Korea. Should I tell it in Korean pronunciation? 소잃고 외양간 고친다. It's quite hard pronunciation, but let me tell you what it means. It means usually don't shut the stable door after the horse has bolted. Is there anyone who wanna do the same thing? Maybe not. Before the horse go away, we would like to be prepared, right? Like these days, climate changes are being really a big matter. Then they always say we should be prepared and we should know before it happens. Then what we should do? I came into the conclusion we need anticipation. But how we can make this kind of anticipation? In our team and in our company, yeah, we made a conclusion. We can do the anticipation with intensive Earth monitoring and interpretation. Here, I brought an example of this one. This is an image that our client ever requested to monitor the characteristic of these city. Before I start, I would like to say satellite remote sensing and AI is quite famous, right? Those two are magical. With their magic and with the right ingredient and knowledge, they can also, organizations can do things like predict where the next landslide will be, also predict what kind of things will go on, or they can monitor the city with a one click, something like that. So, with our magic, yes, we could monitor how many structures are living in this, our region of interest, and also we could make a statistics for the other people to interpret their view easily. But the problem comes when we do this magic. Let me tell you something. I told you that we need right knowledge and the ingredient for this magical thing. So what we need, let me tell you, for the majorly I say we need two ingredients. First will be satellite imagery, and the last thing will be algorithm to get right information from that. Then how do we make it? That is why there are many researchers and also engineers and scientists are getting together. So what we do is listed in here. In our team, usually we get a satellite image and using our deep learning algorithm, yeah, we make these kind of services. And inside of our deep learning algorithm, there are object detection, semantic segmentation, whatever that you guys already have heard is being handled. So this is the major work what we are doing to make better work like this. And to do so, I told you image might be a problem. Also, the algorithm might be a problem. And as a business guy, we should get priority for our own. That is why we will going to launch our satellite to get the image and also to do the preprocessor. Yes, we have our own preprocessing system. And then in the last stage, yes, we do analytics and application for ourselves. So we make these kind of chain, and then we call it as a context customer-oriented customized solutions. So, yeah, you already have seen this slide, right? So let me just go for that, and then talk to you about some example, what we have done and what we are going to do. During yesterday, yeah, I could meet many people and many hackers. You guys were trying to solve the problem using the space tag, and some of you guys were trying to solve the problem using the satellite imagery or the other space tag. But yeah, we are also doing the similar thing. But thanks to you guys, yeah, I realized, yeah, as a satellite imagery engineer, I also need to think about the other problem to contribute to the world as a who always thought about how to get a project or how to make more money, something like that. So thank you so much. But this is also an example of what we have done using the segmentation in our ROI. Yes, also we made a time series change detection output. And if you go next, and there is a land subsidence monitoring. This is a image from Busan, and then we analyze how the land is subsiding. It's a big problem on the earth, but usually if I say, okay, we just got image that your land or that your interest is subsiding, the people who is interested in there will be fascinated. Oh yeah, they can do it. But what is left? What left after that? What kind of thing left after I make this kind of results? The thing is, we should give them a right information and some information as a digest that they can interpret with one click or just at a glance. And this is the thing what we are trying for. Even though we get the output, we should try to convince them with the most simple word. And yes, also near the shore, every year in Korea we have typhoon 4 times a year, average. Every time they have a rocks there with brick water, and because of typhoon, their structure goes changed, and it might cause a big damage on human life. It's quite dangerous, right? So to monitor and then to let local government to fix it, yeah, we make this solution by monitoring their structure every year. And also recently, yeah, we had heavy rain in Korea, but not only in here. I know the other countries are having big climate change. In that case, the water body detection might be a big problem. Also, if there is a dam, what if they open the gate? It will be a big problem. Who is playing near there or something? So we do the water body detection for the public safety. Water pollution detection is what we are aiming for, using the other sensor for give this kind of information, and then we can warn the other company or the other local government. You guys should concentrate on this kind of thing. And the next is we also want to do the monitoring cultivated crop via polarization information, and then when they are doing the agriculture thing, we can monitor what kind of crops are being there, and then we can guide the others, or we can give some information to the government. Okay, this year they have this much of potato, then we expect that this much of potato will make this outcome something. So these are one of our interests. And yes, almost being finished, but we have soil moisture calculation using polarization information from the SAR sensor. And also, yeah, we'd like to do the fire monitoring. Yeah, these are something related to environmental thing. And then this solution, if we make it, it will be a contribution for our society, even though we are from business field. And also landslide might be a big problem. So with these kind of algorithm, it's a really simple block diagram, but we can do this kind of thing, and we really aiming that we can help someone who is interested in here. So before I finish my speech, I would like to ask something. So hackathon, business-oriented hackathon. What we should do at the final stage, right? I want to ask. After I got, this is my first hackathon, but after I got manual, and it says we should do the business pitch. And then if we talk about the business or business pitch, whatever, we think about what first. Everyone says, define your problem. Problem definition first comes first. Then in that case, everyone asks what? What is the problem? What do you want to solve? But today, I would like to ask you starting from why. Let's think about it. Why we gathered today. And then let us try to think about what you're going to solve. Someone who is really, familiar to this kind of 5W1H problem, they will say, hey, Heen, you're wrong. You should start from what? But no, I think this is really important. We start from why and find what, and think about how to make a solution. Then, if you put this in your mind, let us go back. Let me revise about the why. Yes, the revised one, I would like to suggest why this matter should be discussed. Once we have noticed this is the problem, we should think why it is controversial, why it should be solved. And we can also think about why should we take an action. Even though it's negligible, a small thing, there must be something we should take an action. So what about we think from these two things? So we have a 2 hours or 3 hours something before you have a pitch, but I would like to ask you have more discussion, starting from why. So this is the end of my presentation. Thanks so much for a long time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. Thank you, Mr. Lee, as well. So please, we address the questions from the audience now.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, it was really interesting to hear. My question is about future technologies, because there's one I've worked on, quantum technologies for gravity sensing. So I wonder what your view is on how far away we are from using quantum in space for gravity sensing for climate monitoring, or any other new technologies you're aware of.
For the next generation technology, right?
Yes.
Talking about the next generation, this is my opinion. Now we are making the satellite and also the satellite equipment or the payload, and then we build our solution using those algorithms. But it is concentrated on our Earth. Then what if we go to the moon? They have a resource we call as a they must have something dust. I don't know well about the moon. I'm not an astronomer, but we say they have a H3 on their regolith. And then what about we send fully polarized SAR to map how many resources are out there? Or what about we make other satellites for the outer system, even though we are a commercial company? This will be in my case, this will be our next generation thing. But yes, let me get more interest on there by networking with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You had a question in the back.
First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. I'd like to ask, when you monitor the Earth using the satellite, are there any privacy problems that we have to overcome?
Regarding the major problem, right?
Yep.
Okay. From our side, all the time, requirements from our customer and the constraints are being controversial. Sometimes they would like to say, "Oh, yeah, you have stuff like I want to get an image every 30 minutes." In my case, I say, "Oh, okay." The other satellite company they have like for example 20 satellites in constellation in the Earth. That it means that by the calculation, we cannot give that we cannot meet your requirement. But they always say, then can you guys let your satellite move faster? I say no. But yeah, if our and this kind of satellite technology goes more public, yeah, they will get more interest and then they will notice, okay, these are the constraints. So in my case, as a problem to give a service, these things are a problem. But I believe education for the space sector and public being more public will solve these constraints and which we should overcome. Yeah, this is my belief.
Samida for your presentation. And related to the topic that you're talking about, education. So, are there any content, public accessible resources of satellite imagery databases that our hackers can use for educational purposes and also to improve their skills?
In our case, for the education, just like our Vice President Dr. Lee introduced, well, we are making the educational platform, which we call as a space satellite imagery and education platform using block coding. So in that case, if you got once we launch this one, you guys can enter there and then learn how the space imagery goes on and also how you could make a structure for coding. But there is one kind of a service aspect, but for the data, until now, we don't have a public image for educational purpose. But yes, I think this is my opinion, but I think we should consider about that.
Great. Also, I have a second question. So, can we aggregate content databases with other services, for example, Google Earth Engine?
Yes, it should be. If we think about that, art is always changing. Also, these days, metaverse or digital twin, it is being more realistic, right? If only a company who only have image, who only have GIS system, who only have some 3D modeling, they cannot survive, and then they cannot project the change of Earth and the change of things properly. Then in that case, yeah, just like you mentioned, yeah, we should do those kind of things together.
감사합니다.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you can continue discussing with Dr. Young upstairs when we go on to the next mentored hackathon session. So thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you for your questions, for your